Welcome to r/Entitled People, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. The scammer hopes to get back the money she spent on the vacation through complaints, but in the end she admits to everything. The second story. The new employee was dismissed and escorted out of the building by force after 1 hour of training. The third story. Karma has caught up with his titular mother. The first story is, scammer thought she had a foolproof plan for a free vacation, but she paid for it in the end. I will always remember this wannabe scam artist. I was working corporate guest relations, and I received a very long email from a guest about their stay at our resort property in Mexico. This was a very nice all-inclusive beachfront resort. She put a lot of effort into the email, which was basically a day-by diary of her 8-night stay, listing every possible complaint someone could come up with, along with a huge collection of pictures as evidence. It was several pages long, and it looked something like this. Day 1. The shuttle driver was rude. We had to wait 30 minutes to be checked in. The view is horrible, we can't see the ocean. The sheets were dirty, picture attached. The AC is so loud I can't sleep. There's a crack in the sidewalk outside our room, picture attached. My dinner was cold and there wasn't any salt or pepper on the table. The shower has no water pressure. Day 2. We had breakfast at blank and they were out of pancakes. My daughter's favorite cereal, blank, wasn't available. There were loud children playing in the pool all day. There's a light out on the pathway, picture attached. I called the front desk to ask for more towels and no one answered. I think housekeeping took money out of my purse. The chairs in the lobby are uncomfortable. One of the electrical plugs in my room doesn't work. Imagine a list with 100 more things from her 8-night stay. Every department from FD, housekeeping, maintenance, etc. Now, some of the complaints seemed plausible, but really, who spends their entire vacation making a log of everything they think is wrong with a resort? Especially a hotel we get very little complaints about. So I contacted the FOM to discuss the guest, assuming the FD system, which I cannot access, would have all the logs from this woman's complaints. The hotel logs everything. But there was nothing there. In fact, the entire time she was at the hotel, she never voiced any complaints. She merely logged them in her little complaint diary and went about her business. Many of her issues were extremely petty. For example, the crack in the sidewalk was about 3 inches long and flat on both sides. It wasn't a tripping hazard, just a small crack. The light out in the pathway, even in the picture I could see that the area was still very well lit because they have lights everywhere in that area. Her room didn't have an ocean view because she booked a courtyard view. The picture of dirty sheets showed one tiny little black spot in the corner, like if you tap the sheet with the tip of a pen or a fine marker. It took 30 minutes to check in because she showed up 3 hours early, and they had to get a room ready. The shower in her room was fine, and the AC unit was not loud at all. We looked into everything, talked to all the department heads, and had the room she stayed in fully inspected. While the list made it seem like she had a horrible stay, there really wasn't any substance behind her complaints. So since all this seemed a bit fishy to everyone, I called the guest and spoke with her about her complaints. I told her that I had been in contact with the hotel, and we couldn't find any record of her complaints, and I inquired who at the hotel she had spoken with while she was there, and she admitted no one. I gave her my apologies and suggested that next time she should express her complaints while on the property, so they can be immediately addressed. For example, housekeeping would have been happy to change out the dirty sheets, etc., etc. Keep in mind she was there for 8 nights, at an all-inclusive resort with 7 different restaurants, 4 bars, multiple pools, etc. She probably never left the hotel, but never said a word about all the problems she was having. Note, 100% of the employees speak English. It's a requirement because this is an American hotel chain. So in the name of customer service, I tell her that we would like an opportunity to make this right, and offered her 3 free nights to come back in the future. Nope, that's not good enough. She wants a full refund, $6,500 and nothing less. I told her that I would discuss and get back to her. The next day, I informed her that the hotel would not offer a refund, but they were willing to add in another night, so now that's 4 free nights. Nope, unacceptable. She continues to demand a full refund. We went back and forth. She wanted my manager, who then told her the same thing. The guest hung up on my boss after things got a bit heated. A few days later, she calls again and wants to know the status of her refund. How do you give someone a status on something that's never gonna happen? She says she's gonna contact corporate. I roll my eyes and explain to her again that I'm the corporate guest relations coordinator. I am corporate. I spent forever on the phone talking with this woman, who just refused to accept the free nights and was hell-bent on getting her money back. She just kept going back to her list. Well, what about blank? What are you going to about blank? I wouldn't budge. It's 4 free future nights or nothing, lady. Then the unimaginable happened. In all my years of customer service, I have never ever had a scammer resort to telling the truth. When she finally realized she wasn't getting a refund, she cried, "I can't afford to pay for this. I don't have the money. I don't know what to do. You have to help me." I was like, "You can't afford to pay? Weren't you planning on paying for your stay when you made the reservation? It's not like we're charging you more than you agreed to, and we're still offering you free nights for your next visit." She responded, completely broken and weeping. "I didn't think I would have to pay. I thought I would get my money back. I don't know what I'm going to do. Please, you have to help me. I can't pay for this. I've got kids, please. You've got to do something to help me out. I need you to give me a refund. I don't know what I'm going to do if I can't get that money back. I can't pay for this." Did this woman just admit she planned all this, thinking she was just going to complain her way into a $6,500 refund? Yes, she did just say that. Me, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do." Guest, who now sounds like she's having a panic attack. "I've got to get that money back. I've got to do something. You got to help me out here. I don't know what else to do. I don't have the money. I can't pay for this." Me, "Ma'am, you should have thought about that before you went on a vacation you couldn't afford." Yes, I shouldn't have said this, but I was just done with this woman. She had wasted enough of my time already, not to mention all the people at the hotel who looked into her entire list of BS. She cried some more, then she resorted to screaming, so I hung up on her. Everything was noted. All my calls are recorded, so I went ahead and attached the file. She did send some hate mail to our corporate offices, but due to the fact that I had a recording of her admitting she was trying to scam us, they ignored her letters. Oh, and her frequent guest membership was flagged as being banned from all properties. We did not send her the free night certificates either. The second story is, we had to forcibly remove a guard from site because he disagreed with how to use a phone. Joe was a new hire for a high-profile client. High security, follow policy to the letter type deal. We had an open spot at the site that I was currently filling in for. Management hired this Joe fellow, great on paper, and in the interview, so I was told. Joe shows up at the site. My partner Matt and I introduced ourselves. Note, Matt is a supervisor for this site. I'm currently the dispatch supervisor at the moment. Our uniforms reflect this, and started going over the site details with Joe. I'm answering the phones while Matt explains the policies and procedures, and specifically goes over the gate phone. One thing with this phone, it's a little confusing, in that pressing hold doesn't actually put it on hold. It doesn't do anything. So instead of pressing hold, we mute the call while the guard and supervisor confirm a visitor can come in. Pressing hold just leaves the line open. We specifically coach Joe on this as it is counterintuitive. First time Joe answers the phone, he tries to put it on hold. We correct him that it doesn't work, and he said, "Well, that's how you use a phone. You put it on hold." ISHU not. No matter how many times we tried to explain it to him, he could not understand that the hold button doesn't work, and that you can't use it here. "That's how a phone works" was his favorite line. It gets to the point where he's shouting and screaming about this issue, and how ridiculous it is for us to police the phone. We are literally one wall away from the office area of the site, where the client and all the other staff can clearly hear all of this, while trying to process visitors, and he refuses to lower his voice or listen to anything we have to say. This all within an hour of starting his training. Joe goes to the bathroom, and I make a phone call to the manager responsible for the contract. He okays me sending Joe home, though he doesn't actually believe me at the moment. Joe comes out. Matt is holding his bags and tells him he needs to leave the site. I tell him his shift is over. You'll be paid the full 12 hours for the training shift, but he needs to leave now. Joe refuses and tries to walk past us back into the guard office. I block his path and tell him again to leave. He calls dispatch while I physically corral him out of the building, while he's yelling over the phone to dispatch about how I'm assaulting him. I stuck out my arms to block him from going anywhere except out, and he was bumping my arms. We got him outside, but he still wouldn't leave the property. I told Matt to call the police, but he went inside and called the contract manager, who hired Joe instead. Matt passed the phone over to Joe, and the manager convinced Joe to leave. Good judgment on Matt there. I called dispatch to let them know not to worry about what happened. She wasn't because she could hear me over the phone. Just stayed on the line in case she needed to send someone else out. Matt and I got back into the office, and I got to educate him on how to write his first proper incident report. Productive in that sense at least, and killed a couple of hours out of a long shift. Oh, what happened to Joe? The contract manager said we should give him a chance at another site. Remember how I said he didn't really believe me? Too bad the cameras didn't record audio. The thing is, since I did most of the scheduling, I just removed him from our system and didn't schedule or contact him again. Not suitable for any site with that kind of unpredictable attitude and lack of respect for supervisors. And the last story is, EM brings along her kid to work unannounced. Background: my company sets up a booth at a carnival, and we engage several part-timers to assist at the carnival. The part-timers are required to go around the carnival ground to distribute flyers, share information, and direct visitors to our booth. The story: on the day of the carnival after setting up, I met up with the part-timers to prepare them for the day. Out of all the part-timers, only EM was late. She mentioned she'll be 15 minutes late, but it was closer to an hour. As we couldn't wait, I briefed the others and deployed them for the day. When EM arrived, she had her kid in tow, 5 to 6 years old. Due to job nature, we can't have her lugging her kid while working. EM knew this. EM: my husband couldn't handle kid, so I had to bring her along. Me: I can't have you working with your kid. EM: it's not my problem. If you don't like it, get someone to watch over him. My colleague C, who was watching this unfold, offered to watch over her kid. He was only required to help out during the start and end of the carnival, so was entirely free during the event. I thought alright since he was free. C: I can watch over her, get her some food, watch some shows, play some games, but you'll need to pay me. EM: whatever, but I'm not paying you for your time, only for kid. C grinning: sure. I was flabbergasted. C told me not to worry, he had a plan. Once EM started working, C brought EM's kids systematically through every single booth, throughout the entire carnival. It was the kid's dream come true, and I believe her best day ever. Whatever she wanted to eat, C bought. She saw a lot of shows and won many prizes. Since C had a staff pass, he didn't need to pay for the shows, only for the kid. At the end of the carnival, when we were clocking the hours worked, EM had the nerve to insist to be paid full, even though she was late for almost 1 hour. She said that because of various reasons, mainly due to her kid, she would have been early. She was ranting and I didn't really pay any attention, as I was tired and I don't decide on the pay. But it was about how I will never understand as I don't have kids, and how she deserves it because she was a mother. My manager nearby winked at me and took over. He said he was very pleased with the day's sales, and how we're very supportive of her, and we should give kids the best. He told her not to worry about the hours she worked and EM will be paid in full. After hearing this, not even a single thanks from EM, she declared in a loud voice, "At least someone understands." She had this condescending and victorious look on her face. Thankfully, it didn't last long. The sucker punch for EM was that EM's kid spent roughly $100, and with EM's pay at $15 an hour for 8 hours, equals $120, she made a whopping $20 for the whole day. C made it a point to keep track of the expenses, receipts, tickets, stubs, etc., and took tons of photos. Of course, EM threw a fit, but with the amount of evidence and her daughter vouching for all the fun she had, EM had no case except to yell, "I'm not paying for this." She grabbed her daughter and stormed off. We look forward on payday when we issue her a check of $20, after subtracting the amount her daughter spent. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a nice day.